Surveillance video captured the moment that someone shattered the window of a Center City restaurant, and this was happening yesterday evening.
Yeah, employees say this is just the latest in a series of assaults and threats that they've had to deal with over the past few years.
Well, they say since the onset of the pandemic, things have been going downhill in the area, and lately they simply don't feel safe.
Action reporter Dan Cuellar is live in Center City.
Since the onset of the pandemic, you know what else started? This whole let some people do whatever they want to do. Don't prosecute them. Don't keep them in jail. Build statues for criminals. And it was all for votes. And now the Democrats are in office. And it's so hard to turn this off. It's so hard. Like, with my 10-month-old daughter, I'm trying to tell, you got to be consistent. Because if you're not consistent with them, they'll take advantage of you. And I don't mind her taking advantage. She's a little kid. But some people are the kids of the world. Okay? We're the kids of the world. Like, the other groups are adults. You know, they're like we at the kiddie table. You know what I'm saying? You got to cut our steak up in little pieces, man. You know? We got food all over our face and whatnot. You got to wear a bib and food on the ground, and we spinning around in the seat while we eating. We drink all our juice before we finish. Well, the adults are at the adult table, you know, having adult conversations, eating adult food. So that's why I compared it to my daughter. But it's more the societal and cultural changes to the way some people are policed, the way some people are coddled and cajoled by the media, by the court system. That's why you're having the issues. It has nothing to do with the pandemic. Come on, man. Nothing to do with the pandemic. Nothing.
Well, they say since the onset of the pandemic, things have been going downhill in the area, and lately they simply don't feel safe.
Action reporter Dan Cuellar is live in Center City tonight with the full story. Dan.
Rick and Shari, one business owner, is asking what happens when you call police to report a crime and the officer tells you their hands are tied, there's nothing they can do. She says this is exactly what happened to her.
I smile when they say that. That just warms my heart. Because as we know, Philadelphia burned for a man named Walter Wallace. A man who beat the brakes off of his mother and knocked his father unconscious, causing a cousin to call the police. The police come, he chases them up and down the street with a knife until they finally shot him. And that city burned. And it was mainly pasty, glacier glider liberals leading the charge. And this warms my heart that now that they wanted the police defunded, that now they're seeing what it's like. This warms my. I am so happy this is happening to them.
Rick and Shari, one business owner, is asking what happens when you call police to report a crime and the officer tells you their hands are tied, there's nothing they can do. She says this is exactly what happened to her.
It's really unsettling that when you call the cops, they come, but then there's nothing that they can do for you.
Marty Lieberman is co-owner of the Mac Mart, which specializes in a variety of macaroni and cheese bowls. Last night at around 6:40, she says a disoriented man fell asleep outside on one of their tables and then did something totally unexpected.
He kind of woke up and he chucked this red perfume bottle right where I'm sitting is where he was, chucked the red at the bottle at the window.
The impact shattered the large plate window in front of the store. She called police and followed the man to an officer nearby and told him what happened. She says the man even admitted breaking the window. She was shocked with the officer's response.
There's nothing I can do unless I see him doing it. And I responded by saying, well, I have surveillance camera and he's here right in front of us admitting that he did this. There's nothing you can do. And he said, unfortunately, my hands are tied.
Deal with it. Oh, well, who cares? You wanted the police defund. See, this is the thing, man. And chicks do this a lot, man. They say things they don't mean in relationships. Leave. And then when you leave, they mad. I'm leaving. Okay, you leaving? All right, well then go. You don't care. You don't care that I'm leaving. You're just gonna let me walk away. They do that in relationships a lot. Well, this ain't no relationship. Okay? This ain't no boy-girl relationship. This was a life or death relationship with you and the cops. There's a woman, all these women that were talking about defund the police, they deserve extra of whatever karma is coming to them. Because are you kidding me? A woman? Talking about get rid of police? I mean, I know we're civilized and we're societies and we moved away from caves and whatnot. But don't get it twisted. Like, the reason you're, like, you're able to, do everything you do without fear and everything is because of the police.
It's really unsettling that when you call the cops, they come, but then there's nothing that they can do for you.
Marty Lieberman is co-owner of the Mac Mart, which specializes in a variety of macaroni and cheese bowls. Last night at around 6:40, she says a disoriented man fell asleep outside on one of their tables and then did something totally unexpected.
He kind of woke up and he chucked this red perfume bottle right where I'm sitting is where he was, chucked the red at the bottle at the window.
The impact shattered the large plate window in front of the store. She called police and followed the man to an officer nearby and told him what happened. She says the man even admitted breaking the window. She was shocked with the officer's response.
There's nothing I can do unless I see him doing it. And I responded by saying, well, I have surveillance camera and he's here right in front of us admitting that he did this. There's nothing you can do. And he said, unfortunately, my hands are tied.
Lieberman says she and other business owners have noticed a trend of crimes in Center City that seem unabated. About a week and a half ago, she says a fight broke out in front of the shop where men picked up some of her signs to beat each other.
Their hands are tied. And it's becoming very evident over the last 2 years especially, and it's starting to really affect the small businesses.
She says it could cost up to $4,000 to replace the window. She posted about it on Instagram asking, at what point will the police be able to hold criminals accountable when they disrupt, assault, violate, vandalize, and threaten businesses in Center City?
And yeah, the perp in this case was a glacier glider. It's the suspect or whatever. But a criminal is a criminal, and that's what you guys got to understand. When I talk about crime, I'm talking about criminals. Y'all make it a racial thing. It's y'all that make it a racial thing. A criminal is a criminal. Remember, it's the liberals that make it racial. And yes, in a lot of these cities, the vast majority of the criminals are Sun people. But still, they're only a tiny part of the Sun population. And y'all make it about race. A criminal is a criminal. And isn't it cute that Miss Lieberman can get on her social media and talk this tough crime talk because the perp was a glacier glider. If this perp was a Sun man, I promise you she wouldn't be on here talking tough like this. Because you just don't do that. Polite society people don't talk about, those people. Don't talk about the blacks, Not publicly, at least. They're going through enough. They have so many challenges. And they don't have the privilege that we have. So it's not polite to talk about it.
I've lived in Philly my entire life, and I've always been a Philly. I rooted for Philly, and now it's just disheartening when you think there could be safer places for you to live.
That's privilege right there. To act like only in the last 2 years did Philly become a dangerous place. Now, I get it. It's crazy dangerous now. And the violence is not only in the African American communities. Yes, the perpetrators and suspects is still majority. Basically all are still Sun people. But now they're going into other places that they normally didn't go to. They're going into, the protesting took them around town. Like I tell you, these protests and these demonstrations, it took Sun people to parts of the city where they would never go before. They wouldn't feel comfortable there because it's not their side of town. Now, you've protested, they saw you burning and looting and graffiti all over the place. And now it's like, okay, you've stained your area. You've slummed your area. You've taken your area and turned it and showed them that, oh, these glacier gliders over here burning stuff down and breaking windows and yelling at police and protesting all day after day after day over old unks, old dope fiends, because that's how street dudes look at these guys, like Floyd and stuff, old dope fiends. So basically, you had a status, a gravitas, where oh man, that's where them white people be at, man. Don't go over there, man. Don't go over there, man. That's where them, it's nice over there, man. The police heavy over there, man. Now it's just, they just see it as another place where, there's no value in it. There's no prestige in it. So they hang out there now. And that's, as I told you, that happened in D.C. to a lot of places, man. That were previously prestigious places where you would rarely see and when I say a Sun, man, I'm not talking about a professional guy or a working guy. No, I'm talking about hanging out. Like loogies all on the ground, litter all on the ground, walking back and forth with their hands in their pants, just chilling in the same spot, all day. Cigarette butts everywhere. Like they done marked their territory. That's where they at. And these liberals did that by showing them that, by slumming their areas. When you protest in your area, when you're yelling at cops and burning stuff and graffiti all over the place, and there's demonstrations, and you walking down the street yelling anti-police slogans all night, and day after day after day, and then you're like, all right, Biden won. Enough of this. Back to work, everybody. Well, the brothers is like, oh, nah, we chilling. We here now. And you thinking well, Biden's in office. We've accomplished our goal. And the brothers are like, okay. But yeah, we going to be here every day hanging out. Because this is our new spot. And then what comes with that is what's been going on in the community, in their community for eons. Now you're getting a taste of it. And even though, in this case, the perp was a glacier glider, it was still a nonviolent crime. You're going to get, if it was a violent crime in Philly, it would have been a brother, and you're going to get that. And she's going to get that. And those things are going to happen to her and people who frequent her business. Like this guy in the window on his cell phone. So, yeah, man. You did this.
I've lived in Philly my entire life, and like I've always been a Philly. I rooted for Philly, and now it's just disheartening when you think there could be safer places for you to live.
Police Public Affairs says it's unclear why the officer said there was nothing he could do. They confirmed that the Central Detective Division will now be investigating this case, interviewing witnesses, and reviewing the surveillance video to effect an arrest.